So now we're going to start going through pain tracking. And every time I talk to somebody about pain and what number is your pain, people roll their eyes, they hate pain numbers, they hate pain charts, and I actually love them. And so that's why you have a pain tracker, and we're going to go through, and I'm telling you, you're going to start liking tracking your pain as well, because it gives you numbers to work with. It gives you that feedback over whether you're improving, whether you're getting worse, and it starts to give you control that things don't just randomly happen. You actually can change the outcome of day to day, whether or not you're going to feel better tomorrow or feel worse tomorrow. So to do that, you first have to start with knowing where you're at right now. And you want to start with that pain scale. That 0 is no pain. No pain, no symptoms, no weird feelings, feels totally normal. 10, you're in the emergency room. It is the worst pain you can imagine. You need extra help for that. So if your pain is a 14 out of 10 or an 18 out of 10, I have heard all of those. I'm telling you, if you are not in your physician's office right now or in the emergency room, the worst your pain can be is a 9.9 out of 10. And you can use decimal points, you can use fractions, however it makes sense to you, because your pain scale will be the same for you. And so you don't have to justify it to anybody. You don't have to quantify that it's a 5 because of whatever. You just want to take 10 seconds, decide what your pain is, write that number down. Don't overthink it. Now there's 3 numbers I want you to start to identify right now. 1 is your average. On a typical day, what is your pain? And it's not going to be the worst day, it's not the best day you've ever had, but in the last couple of weeks, at a specific time or at an average time, how much pain do you have? And then put that number down. Now, because everyone wants to tell me it depends, and I know it absolutely depends. It depends on what you're doing now, what time of day it is, what you did 5 minutes ago. I want you to identify what the worst your pain gets is. And so if you've been to the ER in the last couple of weeks, the worst your pain has been is a 10. So you want to write that down. I also want you to write down what the best your pain has been in the last couple of weeks. Now, this is if you are just in the right chair, right position, you have your heating pad, like everything is going well, what is the best you can make your pain? And if that's a 0, if you can get yourself to where you have no symptoms whatsoever, great, that's a 0. If it's not, put whatever number that is, because we're going to look at changing all of those numbers, not just your average number. So when we track pain, there's 3 things that we track. 1 is intensity. That's the number I just had you find. The second is actually the location. So this is on your initial paperwork when you're looking at that body chart and starting to figure out, where is my pain at? And I have a lot of people that come in and it's just the whole body. They just color in the whole thing. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's you, color in the whole chart and then you know. But if that's also you, for this course, for right now, I want you to pick 1 or maybe 2 areas that you're going to focus on. So these are the worst areas. These are the things that are impacting you the most. So when you sit back and go, everything hurts, but really the thing that is keeping me from going to work, the thing that I struggle with most every day is my back, great, I want you to use your back. And that's where I want you to focus your pain numbers and what we're going to use to track. Now, when we're looking at areas like the back, it's hard to say. Back is a big area. And as pain changes and as people get better and worse, that area also changes with them. So I need to be able to quantify how big that area of pain is. And so if we're talking about low back, for example, we use either fruit or sports balls, whichever resonates better for you. So you're going to look at an area, and usually we think of like a circle shape. So is your area the size of a basketball? Is it a volleyball, baseball? Is it a golf ball? And where is it at? So same thing, you can do the same thing with fruit. Watermelons, cantaloupes, lemons. And so you want to kind of write down that size. because as that changes, you think you will always remember exactly where your pain is. You know, you get feeling better for 2 weeks and you really forget where you were at when you started. So we assume it's pretty much centered across the body part. So for you, if it's not, make a notation. If you've got a basketball but it's to the right side, great, basketball to the right. Now where this changes is if you get pain running down your limbs, so down your legs, down your arms, then we want to look at distance. So pain is always, as it gets worse, it expands. As it gets better, it shrinks back up into a smaller area. And so if you're somebody who you've got pain going down your legs, then I want you to note how far down your legs does it go? Does it go to your knee? Does it go all the way to your foot? Where does it stop? And is it one leg or both legs? So you're going to make notes on that. Because as we're looking for improvement, we're going to look for that pain to, instead of maybe stopping at your knee, now it stops at the middle of your thigh or stops at your hip. The third part of pain that you're also going to track is going to be your frequency. That is what percentage of day you have your pain. So this is, if you always have pain, it's constant, that back pain is always there with you, easy, it's 100% of the day. Now, as that changes, your percentage should change too. If it comes and goes, estimate. And a lot of times what our initial estimates are, you're gonna pay attention the next couple of days and that may change. You may actually have to go back and change those numbers because what you thought only happened maybe 20% of the day, when you start to pay attention, you find out actually it's more 75% of the day. And that's okay. You can change those initial numbers if you find that they're quite a bit different from what you think that they are. Now, once you have that percentage, if it happens to be less than 10 to 20%, or if it just comes and gets you and then goes away, instead of using a percentage, you can use tally marks and you estimate how many times a day that happens. So do you get sharp stabbing pain 3 times a day? Is it 25 times a day? Those are big differences. So you want to know roughly where you're at with that. And if you're really not sure, take a couple of days and actually do tally marks and then be able to go back and see how often that really happens. Now we take those 3 types of pain information and we put them together and that creates a picture. This is where you're at now with your pain. And we're going to recheck that every week because it's important that each week you see improvement. Each week things are changing and moving forward. And a lot of times that pain number, that may actually be the last thing to change. A lot of times the first things to change are actually that area. So that basketball size starts getting smaller. And so your pain may still be, it's a 7 out of 10, but now instead of a basketball size that runs down to my knee, now it's actually a softball size and it stays in the center of my back. That's better. And so that's part of what keeps you motivated to keep going, even though your number is still a 7, because if that keeps improving, you know that that pain number is going to come down also. Now that you know why you need to complete your pain chart, please check out the video on how to complete your pain worksheet.